Married couples who sleep in separate rooms, why do you do this? My parents do this. My mom likes to sleep with the TV on, my dad snores and steals sheets. My mother claims sleeping separately saved their marriage. My grandma and granddad do. She likes it freezing and he likes it boiling. Girlfriend's parents do this. They both snore and do it to get away from each other's snoring. I didn't think it was that bad until they talked about having to sleep in the same bed during their trip in Europe. They were at each other's throats because if one fell asleep, the other couldn't. Different sleep cycles and work schedules. He wakes up 3 hours before me. During the summer I moved to another room we call the wind tunnel. Basically I have a ceiling fan going almost 247 and a window fan above the bed. I run from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. She has allergies and easily gets runny nose and sneezes from any moving air. My body temp will skyrocket and I'll sweat like crazy in a room devoid of moving air. So she sleeps in a stuffy no air movement master bedroom and I sleep soundly in the wind tunnel. During the winter I move back, cause then I become the ultimate body warmer for her. My stepmother's parents took this to a new level. He built a second house next door. They lived next to each other for 20 years before they both passed in a short amount of time. It seemed very odd to me, but it worked for them. At least from an outside perspective. I know images never reflect reality. We're both 41, been married 23 years and sleep in different beds. First half of our marriage we always slept in the same bed. Of course there was the occasional crying kid who wanted mommy to sleep with them, or falling asleep on the couch or somewhere else. About 10 years ago I spent a year working a midnight shift, so I started sleep on our spare bed in the basement. We both realized we had much better sleep separate in our own beds. After I went back to a day shift we went back to sleeping in the same bed and soon realized sleeping apart was more restful. Over time we bought 2 full-size beds and put them in our bedroom, like the old TV shows. It's been great. Edit, so a lot of comments about intimacy. Yeah, we have sex, I'd say every bit as much as we ever did in the past. We've been married over half our life, so we are really good at knowing when fun time is going to happen. Sometimes we sleep in the same bed. There is no rules we have to sleep separately all the time. Our beds are about a foot apart and sometimes we slide them together, especially when the kids were younger and they'd end up in our room, along with the dog. Edit 2, yes, we got married at 18. We went to prom together and girlfriend somehow got pregnant after prom when we stopped for soda. So we got married. Spouse snores, 2 60-pound dogs, and a queen-size bed. No room for me and I need dead silence. If I even try to sleep on the couch in another room I will wake up to her on top of me. My parents slept in separate beds as did my great-grandparents. For my great-grandparents it was a comfort thing. Grandma didn't like not being able to move around the bed at will. She and Grandpa loved each other dearly and she passed not long after he did because she missed him so much. For my parents it was a couple things. As my dad aged his sleep cycle went weird. He would be able to sleep a couple hours and then be up half the night and fall asleep again about the time my mom was getting up for work. Also my mom has sleep apnea and uses a CPAP. It made hella noise back then. Dad was half deaf and the sound still bothered him. Out of respect for each other they decided it was better to have separate bedrooms. My wife has MS. One of the primary issues she has is vertigo. When I'm in the bed with her, the motion of my breathing heartbeat movement really ducks with her vertigo while she sleeps. Also, I snore, so an isolated coil mattress wouldn't quite do it. They aren't total isolation, either. You feel movement, or 2 beds in one room. Also, honestly, it spices up the sex life. Adds an element of pursuit and some illicit atmosphere to it. We're sneaking around the house to each other's beds to bang. Sometimes I have to sleep on the couch cause I get hypersensitive to sound, especially human sound, and don't like the noise his whole existence makes. He gets it luckily. We blended two households. His bedroom was fully furnished and the furniture and closet were full. It made sense for my stuff to go in a different bedroom. We started out sleeping in one room or the other, but I realized pretty quickly that, if I ever wanted to get a full night's sleep, it wasn't going to be in the same bed with him. I've been known to call him a sweating, snoring, slant-sleeping son of a bitch after a night of his sweating, snoring, and slant-sleeping. We do a your place or mine thing for non-sleeping activities, but GTFO when it's sleepy time. He snores. Sometimes my GF and I sleep in different rooms, and the reasons often differ. Did I eat a big bean burrito earlier? Separate rooms. Just an example. Also, unless your bed is massive, sleeping with someone next to you can make it more difficult to sleep. Yes, sleeping together is romantic. But getting good sleep is more romantic. Lol. I do this. I am an absolute terrible person to share a bed with. I snore like a passing semi-truck and apparently, I'm told, flail wildly in my sleep. When we first got married I kept waking up to an empty bed. She would join me for an hour until I was asleep, then retreat to the couch. After a week or two I got fed up and just went to the couch first. Then started several months of us trading off for the couch. Eventually I just went and bought a twin mattress and tossed it in the office. That became my bed. And when we got a bigger house, I just set up in a separate room. I have a hard time falling asleep without something to distract my brain from thinking. I usually watch a show, documentary, or do some repetitive game on my phone to accomplish this. She can't stand the lights from the screen. Friends of mine do this. She doesn't like him and feels he's a terrible husband and father. He won't divorce her because it'll cost him his standing in the church, which is the only level of social prestige he has. He's verbally abusive and initially she did it as a wake-up call to encourage him to nicen up. It's going on its 4th year. Not separate rooms, but a king bed and separate blankets. We sleep way better. I am a notorious blanket hog and Hess always hot when he sleeps. Then we can be close when we want to and separate when we need a good sleep. My buddy is basically married and they have this arrangement. Basically they say they aren't one person just because they're dating. They don't want to be the couple who merges into one entity. They are two separate adults and adults have their own rooms. They're two of the most capable and competent people I've ever met in my life. They have their shit figured out. They are the reason I no longer view two separate rooms as a sign of a dysfunctional relationship. If anything, they make me think most relationships would benefit from their let's not do literally everything together mentality. She wants to sleep in the same room as our newborn baby to be close to him, take better care of him at night. I wanted to get enough sleep to function at my job. My grandparents do this. My grandfather built a small apartment on the 2nd floor of their house. They do it because they have different sleep schedules and in general they spend much of the day apart because they like it that way. But they always eat lunch and dinner together, and my grandfather loves to listen to her soft footsteps throughout the day. He calls her the woman next door. It's really cute. Edit, a word. I'm a very kinetic sleeper, she's a very light sleeper. Can I make it any more obvious? Sleep cycles and she violently tosses around. I've been asked by my commander if I got into a fight when I showed up to duty with a black eye. Okay, look. I didn't mean to punch him in the face. Or kick him in the stomach. He just kept encroaching on my 7/8 of the bed. ITT people with undiagnosed obstructive sleep apnea. To stay married. I would say seriously, but I am serious. Other reasons: 1. She's an only child, never had to share. 2. I had a large family, don't want to share anymore. 3. She likes a soft mattress, and I like a firm one. 4. We both snore, but at different points in the night. 5. Night farts, not going to assign blame, there's plenty enough to go around, 6. Her cats don't like to share a bed with my dog. I could go on, but these are the highlights.